BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to BodyBags. It's week 168, and I'm your Sunday host, Bourgie86 here again. Yes, it's that time again. It's Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed the week this week because we had a few debuts. Of course, Tori took over the Saturday spot, and he did his review of Calvera last night. Very interesting review, very in-depth. As Tori, you know, does very in-depth reviews on his days, usually. And of course, we had our debut of our new Wednesday host, Andrew, who did a very terrific job, I have to say. His review was very in-depth and sincere. He really went into both of the short films on Two Evil Eyes, which was a really awesome review. So if you haven't checked out both those debuts, check them out. Very good stuff. Of course, the rest of the hosts, thank you for also the awesome reviews that you always do, as always. Now, let's get into my review for the closing review. I got a fun one for you guys. It's a film from MVD Visual, which is a company that I'm very stoked for. I actually got this to review from them, and I didn't really know much about it when I asked for it. Just the cover intrigued me enough. I kind of figured what I was going to get myself into with this one, and it goes by the title of Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. Yes. Now, when I was actually learning about this film, I actually watched the special features. I found out that this was actually a comic book that was very famous in the area, which this film actually takes place in Florida. And I didn't really know much. I never read the comic book before, but I'm very interested to actually check that comic book out now because it's very, very interesting premise, I have to say. Now, the main plot of this one, we're introduced to our main character, Bubba, who's this guy who works at this dog pound type deal. He works overnight, looks after the dogs type deal. And he's kind of like the town fool in a way. The townsfolk either make fun of him or talk shit to him or kind of look down on him because of the way he acts and stuff. And the one person that Bubba loves is Bobby Joe, who's actually in a relationship with somebody else at the time. So it's very hurtful for Bubba because he really does love Bobby Joe. He always has. So he decides to do whatever he can do to have Bobby Joe for himself. So one day, at the same night of this night that this film takes place in, we introduced to the devil. The devil actually comes to the bar that Bubba hangs at and makes him a deal that he can't refuse for his soul to make him have Bobby Joe. So he agrees and sells his soul to the devil, and the next day he becomes a werewolf. Yes, that's him right there, all hairy and bearded, and we find out that the town people actually look up to Bubba and stuff, and he ends up getting Bobby Joe. But unbeknownst to Bubba is actually the devil is still in the town, and he is taking the souls of the townspeople one by one. So it ends up being up to Bubba to stop the devil in doing this. That is pretty much the main plot of this one, without going too crazy into it. Now, I gotta say, very fun film. A few surprises. This film is actually written by Stephen Burrow, who, if you know, I actually reviewed 2 of the films he was involved in previously on this channel, American Guinea Pig, Bouquets of Gore and Blood, and he was also the writer of the sequel to that film, Bloodshock. Now, very interesting because this is very different from those films and the films that he actually releases on his label, on our films. He releases a lot of oddball underground type films on that label. So it was very interesting because there is actually a lot of good-hearted comedy that comes from the script that he actually wrote in this film. Now, I actually did enjoy the characters. They were very funny. I like how the townspeople interact, and Bubba and Bobby Joe. I love the concept of their relationship and how it dwells into the film, and it actually comes with some comedic moments. Now, the cast is on point. Actually, very interesting fact, the actor who plays the devil in the film is actually the guy who wrote the comic book that this film is based off of. And he does a very terrific job in his role. There's actually one scene that had me cracking up when he's actually taking the souls of the townspeople with him And there's one scene where this nun is doing like her, like one of those street nuns that give out the pamphlet type deal. And he actually ends up taking her clothes off and starting to make her become lustful, and it ends up becoming like this funny scene where he's actually taking the townspeople one by one. There's one scene where he has like this movie theater type deal where like it says Michael Bay Marathon, and then it switches it to Art House Marathon type deal, which is fucking funny as shit when you see it on screen. It's really cool humor and humorous things. Like another scene that I don't want to really go through because there's like this scene that kind of involves zombies in a way, but it ends up turning into something else, which I actually put a smile on my face, and I really like how this film developed and the way it ended. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of things that one issue of this film that I had is it does have a few practical effects in it, especially with like some gore scenes and stuff, but it's mixed in with like some really shoddy CGI in a way. The CGI does look good, but it kind of makes the film like not really, because you really wish that they just used prosthetics, especially with the budget of the film and stuff. And it does work for the with quality of the film because this film is based on a comic book in a way. But as a fan of like cool like practical effects and stuff, you kind of wish that they didn't go for that CGI route. But other than that, I actually really had fun with this film. It's nothing really bad to say. It has a lot of quirky humor stuff in it going on, and a really great like character of Bubba. I really like how he builds up to become like this hero at the very end of the film. Really good stuff. If I had to rate Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, I'm gonna give it just a solid 7 out of 10. Really fun film. Just wish that they cut out the CGI, but other than that, I had really a blast with watching this. Really good stuff. So if you haven't checked this out, I highly recommend it, guys. Really fun film. Alright guys, that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, next week we'll be doing randoms again. And then the week after that, it's going to be a theme week. I'll get more into that next week in my next review. So, as always guys, I'll see you then. Peace out.